Welcome back to Real Family Secrets. Grab your snacks, get comfortable. The people in these stories had every chance to behave themselves. They just chose wrong. Drop a comment and be sure to subscribe. You're going to love it here. My name is Peter Halloran, and for 22 years, Sam Guerra was my best friend and my business partner. 3 weeks ago, he boarded a flight to Cabo San Lucas with my wife, thinking I had no idea. What he didn't know was that I'd already moved everything that mattered months before either of them worked up the courage to book the tickets. Sam and I started our commercial insulation company in a rented garage in Tulsa when we were 26 years old. We built it together, brick by brick, for 2 decades, 300 employees, contracts across 4 states, the kind of company you build once in a lifetime if you're lucky. I married Renee 11 years ago. Sam was my best man. He gave a toast that made half the room cry. The same toast he'd apparently forgotten entirely by the time he started sleeping with her. It started small, the way these things always do. Renee began working late, more often. Sam started finding reasons to call the house instead of my cell. Small things I might have missed entirely if I hadn't, by pure accident, seen a text notification on Renee's phone while she was in the shower. It was from a contact saved as Gym Buddy. The message read, "Can't stop thinking about Cabo. 3 weeks feels too long to wait." To be honest about what happened in my chest in that moment. It wasn't the explosive rage you'd expect. It was something colder, quieter, more dangerous in its own way. I didn't say anything. I didn't confront Renee. I didn't call Sam screaming into the phone. I have spent 22 years building a company with a man I now understood I could no longer trust, and I was not about to lose that company in the same breath I lost my marriage. I called my lawyer, a careful man named Dwight Fenner, the next morning. "I need to understand exactly what I'm entitled to if my business partner is the one destroying my marriage," I told him, "and I need to know how fast I can move assets before either of them realizes I know anything." "How fast do you need this done?" Dwight asked. "Before they get on a plane together." I had 2 weeks before the trip Renee had mentioned was happening for a girls' retreat with a friend named Carla. I already knew Carla wasn't going. I'd checked. Dwight and I moved quickly and quietly. Our partnership agreement, drafted 22 years earlier by 2 26-year-olds who trusted each other completely, had a clause neither of us had thought about in a decade. A buyout provision triggered by conduct detrimental to the partnership, which included, explicitly, actions that created reputational or financial harm through personal misconduct. "It's a stretch," Dwight admitted, "but if we can document the affair properly, and if it's affecting company operations or reputation in any provable way, you have grounds to force a buyout at a valuation that protects you, not him." "Document it how?" "You need proof, real proof, not a text message you glimpsed over someone's shoulder." I hired a private investigator, a quiet, methodical woman named Ingrid Solano, who I'd used once before for a vendor fraud issue years earlier. Within 10 days, she had photographs, hotel receipts under Sam's card, and confirmation of the Cabo booking, 2 tickets, 1 hotel room, dated for the following week. I also had Dwight quietly restructure my personal stake in the company, moving my ownership into a trust structure that would be significantly harder for a divorce settlement to touch. All completed and notarized 4 days before Renee and Sam boarded their flight. I let them go to Cabo. I wanted them relaxed, comfortable, believing they'd gotten away with something clean before the ground opened up underneath them. They came back on a Sunday. Renee walked in tan and lighter somehow, the way people look when they think they've just gotten away with the best-kept secret of their lives. I asked her to sit down that evening. I placed the photographs on our kitchen table, one at a time, the way you'd deal cards, and watched her face lose all its color. "Peter, don't," I said. "I'm not interested in the explanation. I've had 2 weeks to prepare for this conversation, and you've had 10 minutes to invent an excuse. I promise you mine is more thorough." I called Sam the next morning and asked him to meet me at the office, alone, before the rest of the staff arrived. He walked in, looking like a man who suspected something, but hadn't yet let himself believe it. "Sit down, Sam. Peter, whatever you think you know, I know everything," I said. "Cabo, the hotel. 11 months, according to Ingrid's report, though I suspect it might be longer than that." Sam's face went through the exact stages I'd watched Renee's go through the night before. Denial, then a weak attempt at minimizing, then, finally, silence, because there was genuinely nothing left to say. "Here's what happens now," I told him. "You have 2 options. Option 1, I invoke the detrimental conduct clause in our partnership agreement, which triggers a forced buyout at a valuation that will not favor you, and I fight you through every court this state has, for years, funded by a company you'll no longer control. Option 2, you sign a voluntary exit agreement I've already had drafted at a fair but modest valuation, effective immediately, and you walk away with your dignity mostly intact and enough money to start something new somewhere else." Sam sat with that for a long time, staring at the table between us. 22 years, he finally said quietly. "And it ends because of this." "It ends," I said, "because you decided 22 years of friendship was worth less than whatever you thought you'd find in my marriage. I didn't end this, Sam. You did, months ago, the first time you touched her." He signed the voluntary agreement that afternoon. I bought out his shares at a price that was fair, technically, but far less than what the company was actually worth, given the leverage the buyout clause gave me. The divorce with Renee took 4 months to finalize. Because of the trust restructuring Dwight had arranged before either of them knew I was onto them, the company itself was never at risk in the settlement. It was already legally insulated by the time the affair became public knowledge. Renee got a fair settlement by any reasonable standard. She did not get half of a company that by the time the divorce was finalized, I owned completely and outright. I run the company alone now. 312 employees, contracts in 5 states now instead of 4, growing steadily without the partner who spent the last year of our partnership building a second life behind my back. I hear Sam started a smaller competing business in Amarillo. I wish him well, genuinely, in the specific detached way you wish an ex-friend well from a very safe distance. I started seeing someone new about 8 months ago, a woman named Julissa, an architect who has absolutely nothing to do with insulation, business partnerships, or Cabo San Lucas, which, frankly, is exactly the kind of change of pace I needed. People ask me sometimes if I regret how cold and calculated I was through the whole thing, whether I should have just confronted them immediately, let the emotion out. I tell them the truth. Emotion doesn't protect 22 years of work. Preparation does. And I have never once regretted protecting what I built before I let myself feel what I lost. If this story moved you, subscribe for more real family stories and tell us in the comments, would you have handled it as coldly as I did or confronted them immediately?
I left the kettle screaming like it knew your name. Steam rise, excuses on the kitchen pane. Your coat still hangs there, heavy as a debt. I touch the sleeve and you're not anywhere.
Yeah, I talk slick, but my silence got a stutter. Keys on the counter like they hate each other. I'm too cool to crash, so I joke when it's ugly. But my laugh got dents and my pride too snugly. I'm a headline in my head, but the fine print's tragic. I cut feelings into syllables, call it word magic. You said be honest, I said bet, then I dodged. Now my ego in the sink, getting rinsed and judged.
Don't dress it up with rhythm and smoke. Don't turn my tears into what you quote. If you mean it, say it plain. Right here, right now, no stage, no game. You don't get to leave and still hold the door. I don't get to win if I'm keeping score. I want the truth with the lights turned on.
Then I'm talking daylight, no mask, no charms.
Without feet on the floor.
Either we learn to stay or we break for sure. Like a rental
agreement,
month to month love, short term,
no commitment.
Now the mirror do a roast, yeah, it's brutal. Shows me a man making jokes at his own funeral. I got bars for the world, can't build you a bridge. I'm great at big talk, bad at small bids. I bought you flowers once, left them in the backseat. They whipped it like my promises, that's on me. So I'm pulling up with the truth, not a trophy. If you slam the door, I won't act like you owe me. I don't need grand gestures, I need gravity. Love letter stands up straight when it's heavy.
Say stop turning pain into entertainment. Say you stay when it's quiet, when there's no arrangement. If I reach for your hand, don't make it a test. Make it a home, make it honest, make it right. You don't get to leave and still hold the door high.
Cut the act, no tricks, no lord.
I don't want the truth with the lights turned on.
I'm here in the bright, no shades, no armor.
With our feet on the floor. Either we learn to stay or we break for sure. Say it like you mean it. Ain't no remix. You don't get to leave it and still hold the door.
I cut the act, no tricks, no lord.
And still hold the door.
I cut the act.
No tricks, no lord. I want the truth with the lights turned on.
I'm here in the bright, no shades,
No armor.
Push box in a storm with our feet on the floor.
Either we learn to stay or we break for sure.
Say it like you mean it.
I mean it, no remix. The kettle finally calms, the room can breathe again. If you step back in, step in like a man.